Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mama K here, and I am one of the three hosts of Three Sisters in a book club. And I'm going to turn it over to my sisters so they can introduce themselves as well. Hey, ladies.
Hello.
Really?
It's Tony.
And hey, friends, it's Erica.
Hey, hey. So, how you ladies doing? I feel like it's been forever since we last did the last podcast, which was fabulous, by the way. So, kudos to you both for having a conversation with Tati. It was so good, very informative, and I really appreciated that a lot. I
Yeah.
got something out of it, a book.
The book.
Yeah, for real. I think we all do. That's going to be our new thing, the collecting of books from guests, their
Yeah.
recommendations. But no, it was a
Yeah.
good conversation. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Gotta
Yeah.
drop a book break.
Right. So, how's life been? How's life? What we got going on? What's going on?
I'm
Nothing
tired from
much.
traveling, but I'm back.
Man, listen.
No more traveling for
Yeah.
the year for this work.
For the rest of
Amen.
the year, look at that.
Amen.
Got it out the way early. I just
Look
started
at
spring
God.
break. So I'm about to be reading all week. Go me.
All week.
Okay.
I'm
Listen,
about
we
to
are
be
out
like,
here
I
living
read
our
50
fabulous
books this
life.
week.
No, it's gonna be she started 50 books and
Yeah.
finished one.
Yeah. Maybe two. But I'm like,
That is hilarious. Well, I want to welcome you guys to our April podcast. And, the theme for this podcast this month is Drop Everything and Support. We have two big calendar events for the month of April in which we're highlighting on this show. The first being it is National Library Week, which takes place the second week of April. And then also Drop Everything and Read, and that takes place April 12th. So, we have a lot to discuss on the show and specifically about these topics here. And so, yeah, we're going to get into them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, are y'all ready for this? Because,
I'm
National
ready.
Library Week. Yeah, listen, I am too. I think that's when I go ham in the library. Like, I be up in that joint for real. Like, they get tired of looking at me like, ma'am, can you just go home?
Now I'm just
Like,
gonna pull up
no.
a cot today. This
Right.
whole week.
Like
I'm
yeah,
sitting here.
exactly. For the next week, y'all get to see my mug, okay? Coming up in here and checking out all the damn books I want.
All
No,
of
I'm not doing that. Not doing that. Not doing that. So I wanted to have this discussion because I think it is important. And let me just say this first and foremost. Three Sisters in One Book Club will always be a resource to readers in the bookish community. And that's the reason why we decided to do this podcast. And this is definitely probably going to be one of our more informal podcasts discussing like why it's important, right, to support the library. So I want to hear from Jean Reading, Erica, Lord Jesus, and Tony as
Hey,
to why y'all personally think it is important to support your local libraries.
okay.
So
Well, I'm
who
not
wants to go
gonna
first?
lie. Me and my library, our relationship is fairly new, but now we go together real bad. But I wasn't one that was using my library a lot last year because I have a really small library, and after COVID, it wasn't open a lot. But now
Mm-hmm.
they have started reopening it. Hopefully, it stays that way with all this other stuff that's going on. But
Mm-hmm.
what I have found since I started using the library is there's actually a lot of events that our library holds that I don't even think all of my community is aware of. But the
Mm-hmm.
library is a great community resource. If you want to build community, it's a good place to do it because our library offers reading programs for the kids, yoga for the adults, a book club. And so I just think it's a really great resource that
Well,
is
damn, y'all got a
free, a
spa
free
over there? I'm
resource.
just saying,
I
y'all
don't know.
popping.
Somebody's doing yoga on Thursdays. And I was like, maybe I should go check it out. I don't know about library yoga, but
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just a really good free resource. So
No, that's great. I love it. What about you, Tony?
so I think the last time I went into a physical library was last year because I actually utilized the online library a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was
Mm-hmm.
my goal that I set for myself last year for this year is I am going to utilize Libby a lot more, which I have. It's
Mm-hmm.
been between Libby and whatever is on my physical bookshelf here at home to get through those books. And if
Now,
there's a
wait,
book that
now, before you finish, because there might be some people on here who may not be familiar with Libby. Can you explain to them exactly what that is?
So Libby is an extension of the physical library. You have Libby, which I think a lot of the libraries do use, but there are other platforms like Hoopla If so, where I am at, where I currently reside, there are two. So I have two different library.
Systems.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so we have like the it's called Mid Continent, and then we have like the public library system. They are different. They do not intertwine with each other. I cannot go to this library and then pick up a book in this system to return there. It just don't work that way, which is fine. But one of the library sources uses Hoopla, and then the other one that I use a lot is through Libby,
Mm.
that are closed by me. So Hoopla right now, it's not my best friend like Libby, because I go on there a lot and I try and see what's available. I don't think I've honed in on how to use this, but Libby has not failed me yet. Like since
That's
I've
Everybody
been
and
excellent
their
to
using
know.
mama is on Libby,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
swear.
And my library system also has another one, the Palace Project. So I literally have
Mm,
all three apps downloaded, and I will go check one, not available. Go check the other. I'll go check Hoopla, not available there. I'll go to the Palace Project, and between one of those, I can either normally find the ebook or the audiobook if I
Yep.
need
mm,
to find a book.
Yep.
yeah.
So if you are one who doesn't like getting out into the public eye, Libby is still a way for you to support
Mm,
via either ebooks or audiobooks. Now, something that you might want to look into because I know some people are very introverted and can get, a really bad case of anxiety just leaving the house. Look into your library resources and see if they
yeah.
can mail you the books, because I actually found out about this probably last month or the month before last.
Zip
If
book.
you are
Mhm.
disabled
Exactly.
or you can't, like, it's hard for you to leave the house. Let's
Or
say,
you
for
don't have.
instance, you don't have transportation. Yes, you can actually see if your library will mail you physical books, and then
Mm,
you can mail them back. I think so. From what I saw on mine's is um expiration date, like they don't have to be returned by a certain time. So if
Okay.
it takes
well,
you a
okay.
couple months to read it, that's fine. And then you just mail it back, and then you can put in another order for more books. I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
how many books you can do. I know some libraries cut off
Yeah.
no more than 100 books. I don't know who's taking that
Right.
many books home. But
That's good to know. I mean, let me go check out my library right now because they can send it to
Yeah.
my
They
house and I
they
ain't got to
do
stop by it. Let me stop. That's
they
rude.
do
I'll
the
go later.
zip delivery out here. So they
okay.
have where they have books that go between libraries, but if they have like a person who disabled that needs books delivered, they will in between running books from one library to the other, they will deliver books to their house.
That's awesome.
Elderly people
No.
too. They do that for the
Yeah.
elderly too, which is really good. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moral of the story, check out your library pages on all the
Yeah.
information is there and all the resources. Like mine, I didn't realize how much stuff they had going on or they offered.
Yeah, that is just one of the things, and we kind of already touched on it. But the other thing is that with library loans, like okay, KU, Libby, or purchasing, when do you decide how to read a book that you're interested in, and how do you go about what is the method? Is it an e-reader for you? Is it a physical? Is it a combination of both? What would you suggest to the listeners? Like when does that come into play for either of you? How do you choose?
I
Wow.
mean, me, I haven't been on KU. It's been a hot little minute. Because I've been running through my physical books. So
Mhm.
I've been utilizing ebooks or audiobooks through Libby. Um
Mhm.
and then I do still purchase books. So I think all us book lovers will never
But,
Of
but
stop
but how do
that.
you balance
Yeah.
that out? Let me ask Erica, how do you balance that out?
For me now, my mindset is kind of intense because last year I just wanted to buy everything. Like every book
Mhm.
anybody ever mentioned, I'm
Who
like,
did it?
let me figure out how to add it to my cart. Let me put in a book outlet. And this year I'm like, stop. Because some of the books I ended up getting were okay reads, but they're not books I need to have on my shelf. So
Right.
I do have authors that I for sure want to buy all of their books. So I'm gonna get those. And
Yeah.
now I find myself utilizing my library when I'm on TikTok and I see somebody suggesting a book rather than just going straight to my cart and ordering it. I'm now putting in the hold at the library. And if I get it, because there has been a couple of books, Womb City Tony, that I bought from the library that I want to own a copy of. So now I can
Did you
read a
get your
book.
copy, by the way? Have you gotten it yet?
Tony, I think, has Womb City.
I
I
have one.
No,
haven't.
you. No,
Okay.
no, no. Because remember, I told you had asked me where to get the paperback, and I told you through
Oh,
thrift
yeah, yeah,
store.
no.
Thrift.
No, no,
Oh, okay,
I haven't ordered it
okay,
yet because there's a couple of
okay,
books. But yeah, so
okay.
now I will read them first, and then there's some books that I read at the library, and I'm like, okay, I read it, and I don't need to, but I've read it. I got to read it. And so that's kind of how I'm going about it. So to balance my purchasing and then also to be
Right.
able to utilize my library. So then I find myself using Livy and Hoopla and Everand more for audiobooks to accompany the physical
Mm-hmm.
books that I'm reading for the most
Yeah,
part.
Yeah,
yeah,
there has
that's
to be
me
a
too.
balance, and I feel like I'm still kind of learning that balance because ever so often, y'all seen my haul. Okay, let's be real.
Halls.
Yeah, I'm like, girl.
March was rough. Okay, because I still have books coming, and I end up counting it, and I think it was like up to 17 books. Dude, what the no. Okay. So I my goal moving forward is going to be, because again, I am an advocate for the library, is to read the books through the library first. If it's not on my shelf and I don't have it, let's start there. Go and utilize that services. And then if it's a book that I like, and I feel like it's one that I may reread again, then when it comes to my birthday, that will be the time where I'll make my purchase. It'll be the purchase for the year and not throughout the year. So I'm really, after last month, I'm really trying to be cognitive of that, because just because you always have the money there to spend doesn't mean you should always spend it right away, right? Because there's
Yeah.
other things that can come up and there's other things that I want to do. And so I've got a lot of books too, Tony, that I need to get off my shelf. So she is inspiring me like to just go ahead and tackle some of that TBR and just really, because I have a lot of books. I mean, I'm one of the ones who fortunately have that big problem. And I really do need to tackle that big problem. And it's either I read them or get them off my shelf. Because for crying out loud, I had a book that's been sitting on my shelf since 96, and I finally read the damn thing this year. Come on, y'all. This is ridiculous.
But it
It's
was a great book, so
ridiculous.
good thing you didn't get rid of it. It was just the
I
timing.
know. And
I'm a
I
firm
know I don't
believer.
want to get of it. I don't want to
Yeah,
get rid of it
that's a
now.
good one.
Well,
I'm a firm
don't. You
believer
gotta
that
keep
some
it.
books are about timing. Like there's not the
Yeah,
right time for that book, but then
it's
if
not the
you
right
read
time.
it
Yep.
5 years later,
This,
that's
I
the
feel
time you
like
were
this
supposed
was
to read it.
definitely the right time for that book, because hello, it was
Mm-hmm.
Women's History Month. Hello. And then I read this book by this Egyptian feminist that was a powerful book that was only 108 pages. That book was sitting on my shelf for a reason, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
get it, but it's like, I'm sure there's other books, just as that one has been sitting on my shelf all this time, and it was worth waiting. There are some that's sitting on my shelf that is not.
She's like, we're just being like,
Right,
there was some
right,
I got because it looked good at the time. Never gonna read it.
Yes.
right, right.
Yeah,
So
I'm
that's
out with
kind of
the
what I'm at.
aesthetics now. The aesthetics don't matter no more. But what I will add is I'm very aware of my purchasing now.
Mm-hmm.
Either it's anticipated buys or it's anticipated authors. So like S.A. Cosby, he
Mm-hmm.
has one that's dropping this year. Tiffany D. Jackson has another one dropping this year. I have all her books in her catalog.
Mm-hmm.
I should say YA catalog, not the little kids books. Then I
Oh, she
think
said, not the little kids.
not the little kids books. And then Joelle Wellington has
Mm-hmm.
one dropping this year. Has her second one dropping. Those are my anticipated
Mm-hmm.
buys. And of course, I am almost done with the book club reads of buying those. Because I want to own physical copies of those, because just in case I need to annotate, I can do
Yeah.
that freely
Mm-hmm.
in my copy. Now, other books like
Mm-hmm.
buddy reads or like, scrolling TikTok or IG, and I see somebody talking about a book and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I would go to the library first.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Yeah.
definitely. I think one of them is Do What Godmother Says. I will not buy that book. I will just read it at the library because the library has the audiobook and the ebook. And they probably
So
got the
wait,
physical.
so wait, Mister is he planning on reading that or not? Is he reading it?
Yeah.
Lord. Okay, then.
He did not start it this weekend. He did not start it this weekend.
It's all good. It's all good. Listen,
I'm
he
gonna
can get
try
it from
next
the
weekend.
library, okay? It ain't going nowhere. It's at the
It ain't going
library,
nowhere.
okay?
Yes, it's at the library. I'm
So
talking into it.
So let's talk about all of the library resources that is offered to the public, because there are a lot more
It's a
than
lot.
I knew. It's a lot. So for starters, we know that they offer books and media, right? And that's something that we all again should be very cognitive of and taking advantage of, because there is a painstaking process that they have to go through in order to bring those books and that media, to the library, to Libby, and all these other places where you'll be able to check it out, right? The system is it's very intentional the way that it's set up, but it is designed to make sure that you have access to any and every book your heart desire, whether it be physical or whether it be through audio, ebook, whatever the case may be. So I think it's great that the system has grown as much as it has, because there used to be a time, baby, listen, you wouldn't get nothing but the books and the CDs in the library, right? And that's it, that's all.
Or the cassette tapes, yeah.
And
I
the
used to have a
cassette
children's
tapes.
book with the cassette tape. You could listen to that bad boy.
Yes.
Oh, those were the
Yeah, I
days.
know, right? Those were the good old
Memories.
days. So cute. And the kids used to be so happy to get to come home with their book and the cassette tape.
Cassette tape in that little plastic bag that
Yes.
clipped at the top.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
whole
I
time we've
love
been
that.
immersive reading for years.
Right.
Just
It's not
Right,
even
that
new.
part. I love it. They were setting us up for the future with that one for
Mhm.
sure. So the other things that they have, which we've kind of touched on it in the past before, is like access to computer and Wi-Fi. Now, I think a lot of us, because it is an everyday resource that we have at our disposal in our homes as well as when we're at work, there are a lot of people out there that just do not have the means to have access to a computer day in and day out, or Wi-Fi services. And even if you're traveling, if you do, right? How nice is it? Because I know for me, when I used to do property management all the time, because I don't do that anymore. The supervisor, the director, I get to be in the office. Anyways, but when I used to be out in the field, when I needed to go and I needed to log in to like check my computer or send some emails, if I couldn't make it to a coffee shop, that would be the place I would go, was to the library. And I
Yep.
could be there on hours.
Yes.
Yeah. And
No
to get
problem.
copies made if you need to print something. So
Yep.
Exactly. So I really love that they do have that. They think in terms of thinking of community. That is one of the biggest avenues, I think, in resources that libraries got right, was making sure that the community could have access to these everyday things that we sometimes take for granted, like computer and Wi-Fi. The other thing was research database. Now, a lot of people don't know, but Erica, you and I are from the era of, what was it, the microfilm? Way back when we used to
the
have to
microfiche
research
when you have to go through and look up stuff. Wow. We just really doing this today, huh? Just dating ourselves
we
all
just
left and
aged
right.
ourselves hella bad, but it's all right though, because the point I'm making with that is the research database is bar none. Like the library, because it's kind of has its archival system and it's been in existence since the library was in its exception. It has great resource for databases, right? When you need to research something, I mean, granted, you could find it at school, but you may not. But the one place you're going to find it for sure is at the library. And that's because that's part of their job. That's what they do. And I feel like people don't know you can subscribe to that. Now they have it to where you can do that from your home. You don't even have to show up at the library. If you have the means and you have an account, just subscribe to it. Because anything like articles, journals, research, anything that you need, you'll be able to get it with the click of a button, which
Yep.
is awesome.
I think too, just to add to that, is when I was growing up, I used the library like heavily, like when it came time for like elementary, where I needed to do research on a
Mm-hmm.
Black
Just
history
hitting those
person,
state
or
reports, hitting those mission
yeah,
reports.
Totally.
yeah, in book reports. Like I would go there because unfortunately I was poor as a kid,
Yeah.
so we did not have internet, even with the hardwire Ethernet cable and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that, so I would just go to libraries on Saturday and use their computer system. And I had it in good with one of the librarians, because it's like a time limit and you can only use it
Mm-hmm.
so much. But she
Mm.
would override it for us, because we weren't just, doing whatever. Like I was literally using it for research for my paper.
Y'all not
or
on
whatever.
MySpace.
No, I used that at school. We had a little, coding
The
way.
computer lab.
Once it got, yeah.
Computer lab on MySpace. That's
Yep.
hilarious. I love it.
So it was nice too, because I could use resources at the public library, but also my school library. So I could go in
Yeah.
there and after school during the week, because I couldn't just go to the library at that point, because it was, I had to ride the bus. The public transportation bus to get to the library. So that would take about an hour just to get there.
Yeesh.
Yeah. But that's public transportation, multiple stops, all that, unloading
I
of people
know.
and all that. So, with
The
people who had a
commitment
card,
was true.
yeah,
She's like,
commitment
I'm
was
trying to get
true.
to the
I'm
library.
trying to get to the library. So, I would just use the school library for a lot of that,
Yeah.
which came in handy for both of those, especially for kids like, when I was a kid, kids like me
Mm.
who didn't have means to internet, Wi-Fi, once Wi-Fi was, introduced and stuff. And I loved it. I was very fortunate that that was a resource for people like me and for others that were, on the I ain't gonna say struggle bus like badly, but we just didn't have access like everybody else.
I'm saying everybody ain't got it. They just ain't got it. And but again, this is the beauty of having the public libraries. And I just think that a lot of people over time, because we have accumulated so much access to technology and specifically in such a short period of time, people just have just gotten complacent and not realizing that the library really is going to be the key to humanity when all is said and done.
Yes.
They don't get it at all. They don't. So moving on, so we have in which we've already kind of talked about, the interlibrary loaning system, where libraries can often acquire materials that's not in their collection through the
Mm-hmm.
interlibrary loan, allowing
My best
patrons
friend.
to access the right of resources. That's when we were talking about
Yeah.
how here they have the zip delivery, right? So where they do the pickups between the library. So say if I was to go on, which I've done, to place a hold from a book that is not readily available in the library that's in my district, but say like the main the public library, the big one, which is downtown, has it,
Mm-hmm.
I'll put the request in, and then the next day or the next business day they'll pick it up, just to zip it back to my library and notify me when it's time to pick it up.
Oh, yours be
Yeah.
quick. Yeah, my library is so small. We don't have any books, and that's kind of why I wasn't going there for a while too, until I
Yeah.
found online I can go put a hold in, and there's going to call it. Sometimes it takes about a week, but I'm patient. I got lots of books
Yeah.
Yeah.
waiting on me. But yeah, so that's like my best friend. Every time I hear a book, I'm like, "Ooh, let me go put a hold."
Yeah,
Oh, you need a book? What book you need? I'll put a hold. I'll put it on my library. That's okay. What you need? Yeah.
totally.
And for mine, because I can do 2 systems, which is nice. I got them at
So
my
wait,
leisure.
hold on. You got 2 systems. Does that mean you have 2 library cards?
I do have 2 library cards. I have one
Ain't you
for
fancy?
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, so the
She said, yeah.
the KC public library system, I've had that since I've lived here
Mm-hmm.
as a kid. So I've always had that card. I just that same card number and everything, been renewing it since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the other library system came about, we got a library card there, and I could use both systems. So the neat thing too about the interlibrary loan system, especially with the one that I use a lot, which is the mid-continent one, I can see it pulls up all of them. I have probably about 5 of them by my home within a 15-20 mile radius of libraries that I can go to, and they will show like the number of what's available, and then if there's 0 available, they'll say this is how many people have it on
Mm-hmm.
hold. And that's the same way with the Libby platform too. Like
Mm-hmm.
it'll show you how many people are ahead of you, which is nice, and
Right.
how long it's going to take for you to possibly get that. Now the time frame
Right.
can change because someone might jump out of line. They might say, you know what, I don't want to read that one no more. I'm gonna move on to another book and come back to this
Right.
later. So it's nice for you to see those numbers. And then if there is one, like Mama K and Erica were saying, you could on mines, you can, if it's available on another one and you don't want to travel far out for that one,
Oh, yeah.
but this is your home library, you can have it. They'll have
Send it
it
on
Mm-hmm.
sent.
over.
Yep,
Send it
sent
on
on
over.
over.
Yeah. I know. That's heaven sent, let me tell you,
Yes.
because look, some of these libraries be too far out, and I'll be like, I'm not traveling all the way up 30 minutes. Just no.
Yeah.
Can you just
Gas is
send
high.
it? Yeah. Right?
Right.
You feel me?
Gas is high.
Like
If I'm going, I'm
for hours. You feel me? I'm about to finish this book up in this library because that's 30-minute drive back. That's a
30
whole
minutes.
hour and
Yeah.
some gas. Mm. Yeah, no, and you hit on something that's important too, because I think people need to understand that once you get into the library system and you really kind of get to know your way around it, you will realize that there are a lot of access. Because when I say that, I mean like a lot of libraries. Like, so I don't know, like for you all, but just in my library system alone, there's an immediate, and again, this is driving, say, from less than 8 minutes up to like an hour, but 50 fucking libraries,
That's a
right?
lot.
Yeah,
If I
Man.
decided I wanted to extend out a little bit more, which is crazy because I don't mean to offend nobody when I say this, but I'm trying to figure out how is it that Alabama can't read and they got all these damn libraries. Hello. But anyways,
that is another conversation for
we
another
would
episode.
listen.
We will not
I'll
be
be
touching on
stumping
illiteracy
myself
today.
sometimes because I'll be like, when I got in the system, I was really expecting there to not be that many libraries. But then I saw the whole list. I'm like, well, wait a damn minute.
It's a
What?
lot. Yeah.
It's
It's a
a
lot.
lot.
Yeah. And I think
So
probably hearing KC, I'm gonna say it's over 15 probably.
that's
And
still a lot for your
it's
immediate
a lot.
area, though. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But in that, and I'm counting from both systems, library systems, and then we
Mm-hmm.
can jump over the state lines, and they got libraries too. Now I
Mm-hmm.
have to get a separate card for them. I will be probably doing that because they do show up on there too. They're not connected, but they say, "Hey, you can go here and get it." So I'm gonna go get a
Gotcha.
library card for them. I sure am.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. And one of the other things that I found out too that they do, so they apparently some libraries have specialized collections. So such books in other languages and materials for like visually impaired, which I know like back then they used to do, so you used to be able to do like Spanish courses like
Mm-hmm.
way back when, and they would have like the material for you to be able to check out to be able to do like bilingual classes,
Rosetta
or if you were
Stone.
taking bilingual. But yeah, but apparently they have stuff for visually impaired. They got something for everybody apparently, and I just was not aware. I'm like, damn. Okay, library, come on. And then, of course, Erica said they got the literacy programs, which I think is amazing, especially
Yes.
for the little babies, right? Not
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
just for the little babies, but also for non native speakers who are in English classes trying to learn English as a second language, and the reading programs for the babies. I cannot speak enough of how these literary programs have really changed the game. And I know people said, well, duh, it's kind of like, literary and library go hand in hand. But no, for a while, that was not happening. I think it was a foresight that, teachers got together with librarians and said, hey, we need to be able to make sure that when this student leaves our classroom, that learning through reading is still a viable option. So how do we do that? Well, you do that by having the literary programs extended into the libraries. And sometimes the kids would be there anyways because they had nothing. Well, let me just speak for me. So we would be there because we had nothing else to do, right? And if you loved books, you were going to be there. And if you were trying to get better at reading the books that you love so much, guess what you did? Be a part of that literary program. And sometimes your parents would sign you up for that too, because they'd be like, y'all sound like a bunch of dumbasses. Go learn how to read a book. You feel me?
Yeah. I don't know if I ever did any literacy programs. I don't think I did
Yeah.
when I was a kid. Like I'm just thinking back, I did a lot of like the summer programs and
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, those are so.
how many books can you read this summer?
Get
You know,
that prize
concept.
Speaking
at
of,
the
are
end.
we
Yep.
getting in on that this summer? Are we doing that? Are we doing that? I think we should compare our summer reading list through our library when all is said and done. I think we should do it. I think that should be a challenge. What y'all say?
What you mean? What? How is this challenge? Is there a Pizza Hut certificate tied to the end of it? That's what I
Ma'am,
used to get.
I need some
listen.
food.
I'm
Okay.
like, is
Okay,
there?
But no
so
Pizza Hut,
so
Erica. We need some soul food.
So
Okay,
check
soul
this
food.
out. So you have to check to see what the prizes are for your library. So like last year, I think so I'm in a different library system now, but the library system that I was in last year with Vistavian friends, so they had some really cool prizes. Like, so they had like these fancy tote bags. You could win like Amazon, the Kindle, the newest one. They had all kinds of crazy stuff. I think like you could get like up to like a $200 gift certificate to like Barnes and Nobles or like Books a Million. Yeah, that's the rich folks over there in
I
Vestavia.
say Your library fancy.
Yeah,
Let
that's
me
a
go
lot.
Did
check.
y'all not see the library over there? They hella fancy. But so they
Yeah,
had all of
not
these
my
things that
library.
they were giving out. So I think if you do the summer program, it's going to be based on the library and what prices they
Yeah,
give
Was
out.
it
But they
adult?
do.
Did they do it for adults or just any ages?
yes, yes, they
They
do.
did
I
it
did
for
mine
adults
last
and
year.
kids.
I did it
Mhm.
last year. I got a cup out of
Mhm.
it. It's a campfire glass. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So they
and I
do
did a
they
mug. They do it for the you. So for adults, ask them if they have a tracker, like a
they
app
do.
tracker. Because mine has an app tracker, so
Uh-huh.
you do not have to fill out a sheet. I think
Mm-mm.
they
You
reserve that
just
for the
log onto the
kids.
track.
Yeah, because it's fun for the kids to
Mhm.
fill out the
Yeah,
paper. Like,
I want to
mommy,
fill out
look.
paper. Turn mine in. I want to
Yeah,
take it to school and show the kids what you do
Do you
this
remember the app?
this
Because I
summer.
think it's universal. I think
bean
that's
stack.
something that yeah, it's the same one. It's
Yeah,
across the board.
bean
So
stack. Okay.
it's across the board. It's the same one because the I think the National Library Association is the one that set that up,
Okay,
if
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
check
Okay.
my
mistaken.
Yep.
library. And if anybody listens to this, we all check your library and then do a post and tag us in it because I want to see whose library doing the adult summer reading. I don't think my library got it, but I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check.
Girl, get with it.
Yeah, I think so. Mine, they do it more so. It's everybody, like no age limit.
It
Kids,
is everybody.
Got
yeah,
you.
they don't have it
It's like
sectioned
the
off, which is fine.
junior ranger
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
badges at the national parks.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, they give the kids booklets, but anybody can finish it and get that junior. And I know this because
Right.
I've
yeah,
gotten like 3. So
Right.
yeah. Because mine's last year for the summer reading program. The little kids, I think it was like the little babies and toddlers, they could get like one of those cardboard books if they
mm-hmm.
read so
Mm-hmm.
many. So they did
Okay.
not get the glass cup like I did. So they
Mm-hmm.
did
Yeah.
have other prizes depending upon
Mm-hmm.
the age. So I got to get the cool glass, and then they did I think it was like a fall or a winter program or like reading
Mm-hmm.
program.
Mm-hmm.
I got the mug. It was a pink mug. I got that. I sure did. I went up there. I was
Lovely.
like, I read, and this one was different. It wasn't how many books did you read. It's they wanted you to read for
A
The
I
whole
minute.
think the
month or something like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, yeah. And I showed her my tracker on Fable, and I was like, I read
Yeah.
every day. She's like, oh wow, yeah.
And that's the other
Yeah.
thing too, because I feel like a part of the library system, they're also starting to tap into these different apps.
Mm-hmm.
So, like with the app that tracks the reading, I think that you can attach Fable to that now, like link it up so that when you read something on Fable, it'll automatically just
Just
put it
upload
on
there.
your log over there. Yep. Yep. Yep.
I'll
I
have to
think
look. I
that
haven't used
and
it in a while.
Goodreads too, because I
At
think
print.
Goodreads is the leader for that. But yeah, it's just really cool how all of that stuff is just interconnected, and it keeps you focused and motivated and wanting to read because like especially us, we're competitive by nature. If there's prizes to
Right.
be won, oh bitch, I'm all in.
I'm there.
110%.
I'm
Like
there.
when I return these books, I'm checking. I need to know when it
Right.
starts. What day are we starting? Is there prizes? Like, why isn't there
Right.
prizes? Who do I need to talk to if there isn't prizes?
Right. So
Like,
check with y'all local
I'm about to.
libraries and librarians for the summer reading program. That's all I'm gonna say
Yeah.
about that one. So, and then speaking of, so the other part of that, because I'm kind of jumping a little bit, where they do these events, which of course the reading programs is only part of it, but they also have like other programs that are designed specifically for children, teens, and adults,
Mm-hmm.
which includes story times, book clubs, lectures, and workshops. Now, I want to focus on the book clubs, lectures, and workshops because I feel like we do sometimes get so caught up on being online and forget that the social part of what we do, right, requires us sometimes to step outside of our box and go to the library. I see your face, Erica, and
Just self
participate
checkout.
in.
I'm telling you. I don't even have to talk to the librarians if I'm not feeling it. I go pick up my book, scan it, hit them with one of these,
Yeah.
Hit him with the.
Oh,
and walk out the
I
door.
know
listen,
what I'm here
okay, so
for.
but see,
I
but
know what I'm here
but I'm getting to the point of all of this because
Okay.
again, it is designed the way that the library system is set up and the way that it's been going as of lately. I think that sometimes we have to change our mindset. I know it's hard because
Yes.
we're anti people, anti-social. We're not trying to deal with nobody. But again, the librarian is a person too. All day long, people is like they're sitting there. They're waiting
Mm-hmm.
for you to come in. They're the ones who put out the books for you when they come in. They're the ones who place in the orders when you place a hold. They do so much. if nothing else, even if you do a self-checkout, just say thank you.
I say,
I
hey,
like that. I like that.
I'm here. I
Yeah.
know. There's like, do you need help, baby? Nope. I know how to read this. I've been reading this thing since I was a kid. I know where to go. I sure
Listen,
do.
I don't know if you saw the video when I was back in Texas, but my old school library still uses the Dewey Decimal System. And I promise you, I saw that and was jumping for joy because I'm like, this is some shit I understand. This is a language that I read that nobody else in this library does. And then there was an older gal around the corner and she started chuckling. She goes, I know it. And I'm like, ma'am, yes, you do, because you about my grandma's age. Okay, listen, we speak language that none of these kids up in here know. I think it's pretty awesome though. But yeah, I saw that and was just like, whoa, I didn't even know that was still a thing because everything else is alphabetized these days. But the Dewey Decimal System, do y'all even know what that is?
It got something to do with some numbers on the spine with the letter or the author. I
That's how
think
you
the book.
find your book.
Yeah.
It's not by the name of the author. It is literally how you find your book. It's based on that number that's on the spine of
I
the
was like,
book.
yeah, I think it has like a number, but then it also has like,
That little
I think
decimal
now they
there.
have like a genre and then something else within the letter format of what I've seen. But I
I know
just know
they're
what
always
it
trying to
was.
switch it up on you though. I think they be trying to trick us. Like we're gonna catch them one day. One day they're just gonna come in and gonna have to roam. See, this is how to get you. I think they try to keep us in the library.
I be going through
Right?
and down them aisles. I'm like, ooh, that looks interesting. I feel like the way that the library is set out, if you've ever noticed, like if you go in there physically, just
Mm-hmm.
look, it is set up like a bookstore, but
Absolutely.
it's in a library. And you get to peruse, and no one's like, "Oh, do you want to buy this?" Because nothing has to be
Right.
bought in there. You just peruse the
Exactly.
shelves, and you pick. If
Exactly.
you want to go with 50 books, I think you can leave with 50. I think you can. I don't know if you want to
Mm-hmm.
do it. I don't know if you're going to read 50 books in a few weeks, but I think you
Ain't
can
nobody got
still.
time for that. I barely
Right.
be holding on to the few I get. Fuck, I'm walking out of there with 50 books. They're gonna even my librarian will look
Wait,
at me like, bitch, are you crazy? If you don't go
whole
put them
stack,
books back and get the 3 that you put on hold,
a whole stack.
the whole stack, right? That part. So I think the other thing was technology, and we kind of touched on that too, because apparently certain library systems also do technology training, which I was not aware that they do. So that's another resource that they're literally teaching these young kids IT, like coding and things like they have started these camps. But they also do these, I think it's like weekly classes. And it depends on the library system where they will put on these technology trainings. That is something I
That's
did not know, I did not expect, but I think it's awesome that they do that. Yeah.
The one that I went to as a kid, they had it, I think it was like once or twice a week. They would teach the elders how to use the internet
The computers. Oh,
and just
I
using the
love
computer.
that.
I don't know if they still, I feel like a lot of libraries probably still do that because if they
Yeah.
still are doing, helping you with taxes and stuff, I think,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, they probably still do that. But I don't know how many people probably utilize it. I think a lot of people who have like grandkids or, uh, you know, children that are
We're their
still around,
library.
yeah, we teach them and stuff. But
Just
some of
thrust the
them don't
phone
like
in
to.
your face. Be like, how
Yeah,
you do this? How you work this? How
yeah.
you
And a lot of
get
them don't even have, like before my grandma passed away, she did not have a cell phone. Like you had to reach her on a house phone. She still had the hardwired house phone,
Yeah.
not a cordless phone, house phone with the cord,
The landline.
the
Yeah, that's wild.
landline.
That's
And she
wild.
did not have a computer. She never got a computer, even though we begged her, Granny, we need a computer because we be needing to research stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
She's like, no, baby, we got encyclopedias. Granny, they have
Not
updated
the
it's like
encyclopedias though. What?
encyclopedias. Yes, we had the library, but we also
Yeah.
had
Wow.
the resource at home. Like
Yeah.
I had the full
Encyclopedia Britannica. What I
encyclopedia
don't understand is
Yes.
how they sell those sets when information changes every year. Like you got to buy an updated
because they
set,
update it.
Every
but then you got to
update
buy.
it
Update it.
Do they update
every
your
year.
set that you bought? I bought this set
So
No,
10
no.
years. It
So what
cost me
happens?
$300.
So from what I understood is that you buy into a lifelong system, right? And so, because I remember my grandmother still gets those damn things to this day. So from my understanding is that she bought into the lifelong system, so she knows that they're going to update every year. So she's not going to pay the full price every year because she updates, but she has to turn in the ones that she got
Okay.
previous year, right? They
Yeah.
recycle those out, and then she
Oh,
pays
okay.
a
That's what I was
discounted
wondering, 'cause I'm like,
price in
they're not
order
just
to have
stacking
those.
an
So,
extra.
because
Oh, okay.
the only reason why I know this is because when I saw her, what was this, last year when I went back? When did I go back to Texas? That was that last year? Yeah. So when we went back, I noticed shiny, brand new books. And I'm like, is that the Granny, you still get these? She's like, yeah, I still get them. I'm like, can you please explain to me how this works? So she did. So yeah, she signed up for lifelong. So I told her, I said, the minute that you're gone, we're stopping that shit. It's done. It's a wrap. Cause
Well,
ain't
she got
nobody
hard
keeping that up.
copies of the world.
Listen,
System go down. She
listen.
got the most updated hard copies of what
Right.
just
And
happened.
that's gonna be it. It stops right there. We ain't keeping that shit up. Nope, we're good.
I didn't even know you could still get them. That's amazing.
You can.
I thought they
Yeah.
went out with
They got the
telephone
kids
books.
one too. They have like the
Do
kid encyclopedias, because they had that when I was a kid. They had like the kid ones, and then you had like, everybody can use them, but
Mm,
yeah.
Mhm.
And I didn't have the kid one. I had like the one. I'm like,
The
what is
regular
this
one.
word? Yeah, I'm like, what's this word? Y'all using big words.
I'm not gonna lie though, them things is cool as hell. Like just the amount of information that went into each and every one of those books is amazing. But yeah, they're expensive. It's
They're
expensive.
expensive.
They are. So really cool. The other thing is that, with libraries that they have is study spaces, which is really great for students. It doesn't matter what grade of school you find yourself in. It is a great resource to use. They have community meeting rooms, which is also great for large community groups and organizing, as well as for book clubs, which again, I highly encourage people. And I know that during the age of COVID and thereafter, a lot of people just don't gather the way that they used to, right? But for those who still are gathering and sometimes can't find a place, check your local libraries, because 9 times out of
Mhm.
10 they will have the space and it will be available for you to use.
yeah.
Job search resources. Libraries may offer resources to help people find jobs. Sometimes they actually work directly with EDD to provide you with a database or list of jobs that are available that you can apply for right there in the library setting, instead of having to always go down to EDD office to be able to do that, right? It just depends on the location, but that resource is there. Again, like Erica and Tony said, you might want to check your actual website for your library to know if and what resources are available to you. Printing and copying, I think that was mentioned too. You can print and copy. Some libraries may not charge you at all. Some may do, but it's usually
Yeah.
around 5 or 10
10
cents
cents.
per page. Yeah.
Because I be
So
going up
it's
there printing stuff.
Mhm.
yeah, it's pretty freaking reasonable. It's ever so often I would have to print, but not much, but it's just there. And then library systems. If you need assistance, if you're new to the library system and have anxiety about getting out of your house like Erica and going there and it's your first time, listen, that's what these people get paid for. They are there to actually show you how the library system works and provide you with assistance through that whole entire process until you get comfortable enough to be able to maneuver it, on
Mhm.
your own.
One time. I asked one
Yeah.
time how I check out my books. Once they told me where it was and what to do, done. And now I know.
Erica's
And
like,
now I'm a
thank
trained
you.
professional.
I'm
Yeah, I was
good.
there looking crazy. Like, do I have to bring these to
Yeah.
you guys? They're like, no. I said, don't tell me that. I just right here. I gotta say,
Right?
And I
That
think they
part.
nobody.
cater to the introverts and extroverts out there.
Yeah.
Like, you can still check out through a
Yeah.
librarian, but if you are very introverted, you were able to get on in public that day, you can use the self checkout. They have like the
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
Little
big
kiosk
old
setup.
screen, scan it. It takes off I think like they have like a little demagnetized thing in there,
Yeah.
so you don't just walk out
Yeah.
with it. You check it out. But yeah, it's nice because I think they understand there are people out here who um don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I'm gonna
Or
peruse this.
I think the other part of that too is that sometimes you get people who people who put holds. Like for me, for instance, when I come in to pick up my holds, I'm trying to get the hell out of there, because when I come in, that means I'm on very
Yeah.
limited time. And the quickest way for me to be able to do that is through self checkout. Now, if I
Yeah.
got time, I will stand up there and talk their damn heads off all day long, because that's what they get
Yeah.
paid to do.
Yeah.
You have moms who come in with little kids, right? And they've got 50 bajillion books, right? Now, sometimes they may just decide, I'm not going to bother this woman because my kid is running up and down this damn aisle. I got 50,000 books. Let me just go ahead and self checkout so I can get the hell up out of here. The sooner the better. I can't got time to talk today. So there's a lot of different variances why they would do that. But I love the fact that they foreshadowed that technology was needed and then they put it in there. But this is another reason why it is so important to support your local libraries. So I want to talk about that because all of these resources and fancy things and technology that we have in these systems, they don't just materialize. First and foremost, let's just keep shit a buck. With this current administration, they're definitely trying to take away the federal dollars, which is our taxpayers' dollars that we pay into a lot of various different things, right? And our public library system being one of them. But now they're wanting to pull back that federal funding so that these resources are either limited or will become no longer available. So I want to ask you ladies personally, how do you or how have you in the past supported your local libraries?
I've attended the events that they put on. So as a kid, was involved in their programs that they did, whether it was the summer reading programs or when they have like guests come and do, like, I remember one of them, he was like the reptilian guy of like Casey, and he would bring snakes and lizards and all these different things where we could interact with these different reptiles. So it was fun, but we also learned stuff at the same time. So me just showing up, or, my grandma having me and my brother show up, is a support for them because they can continue, because of the bodies that are there, continue to have these people come back each and every year. There was this one guy, his thing was Mr. Stinky Feet. I don't know if anybody else is.
What?
Yes, Mr. Stinky Feet. He had a whole song to it, like a whole theme
Not a
song.
song.
A song. And the crazy part is, and I was really happy to see this last year when I went to turn in my stuff for the summer reading program deal last year. I saw a picture of him. I was like, and me and the library assistant were talking. I was like, is that Mr. Stinky Feet? Like, I was born in 91. So that man is still alive, kicking with these kids. And
That's cool.
it was really cool. Now I do want to, get in touch with the libraries that I do go to, see if I can donate some of my books, because I do have some on my shelf that are in pristine condition that I'm just I've either read it and I will not reread it, or I haven't read it and won't be reading it, and probably donate some books, definitely.
And what about you, Erica?
Oh, well, for me, like I said, me and my library, we just got together, so I haven't really been using it so much. But when my kids were smaller, like Tony said, I used to take them to all of the events to go see them, or they would do the summer reading program. But I was just recently thinking about this since we're gonna have this conversation. When my kids were smaller, I used to volunteer all the time. I ran Girl Scout troop. We did AYSO soccer. And then as they got older, I stopped doing that stuff because my kids weren't involved in it. So now I need to think of new ways that are for me. And so right before COVID, I started volunteering out at the state park because being outside and hiking on their cleanup days. And so now I would like to, I'm going to say this, I would like to, because I need to start volunteering and seeing what I can go in and help with at our library. But currently,
Yes. So some of the things that was listed is, like you said, lend a hand. Libraries do need volunteers to help them return books, right, to the shelves, run events and programs, and help visitors find information that they may need. Join or start a book club. Host a book club event at your local library. Donate books. You guys have kind of all hit on this. Erica, don't be looking at me. Join a committee. They have committees within the library system that you can be a part of. Organize events and thank a librarian and be an advocate. All of these are pretty much sensible things that we could and should be doing to support our libraries. But the one thing that stands out, there's two things that stands out to me that I'm very cognitive of that I do every time I walk into a library. Because all of these, well, with the exception of join a committee, because I don't got time for that. But everything else I've done on here. But the two things that I'm constantly doing is I'm always thanking a librarian and I'm always advocating for the library system. I can't say that enough, because without the library system, I would have never grown from my love of books that I have. It was my first introduction of being able to have access to such things as books. You guys probably all know. And especially in Black households, if books came in, it was through a library, right? It
Mm.
wasn't like purchasing books. We ain't doing all of that. You know what I'm saying? That didn't come until later, when we got the Scholastics book fair and we got our allowance to be able to go and buy our own books. But before that, it was always the library. So I'm always making sure that I'm thanking the librarian and advocating for it. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get into our second subject. And I might actually turn this one over to Tony, because I'm going to get into some things.
Yeah, so this one is just for April 12th. It is drop everything and read a book. But
Right.
we wanted to put a spin on it and drop everything and read a book by a BIPOC author, whether that be indie or traditional, because it's something that in the book community we talk about it a lot, especially on the Black side of Book Talk or Bookstagram,
Bookstagram.
Blue Sky, all that, whatever platform you are in, is that
Right.
our marginalized communities, aka the BIPOC authors, um, don't get the same love and push as their white counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
So with April 12th, it'll be here in a few weeks. It was a real deal, like a real, calendar event. And
Mm-hmm.
I did do a little research. It was by an author called Beverly Cleary. So I know who that is
Yeah.
because I read them books as a kid. So if you know Ramona and Beezus,
Yeah.
that
So
is
she's the founder of that, or started this day? Drop everything
yes,
and read?
yes, she is the
Okay.
one that
I think that's
started
awesome,
this.
by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was like, Beverly Cleary, that name sounds familiar. Crap, that's
Yeah.
Ramona and Beezus. I ate them books up as a kid. And it was just in an effort to make sure that families are prioritizing and adding reading to that priority list of deals
Right.
throughout the day, the week. And it's not something that just, you just read this day, you never read for the rest of the year. No, you
Right.
can read every single day. We all in
Yeah.
this circle, we read every day, even if it's for a chapter. We're going to
Right.
read
Yeah.
something.
It's just the day that kind of highlight the reading, right? Like Valentine's Day,
Yes,
we
it's
love
just
people every day,
yes,
but Valentine's gives you opportunity to say, I really
exactly.
love you today. So
That
Yes,
I
part.
really want to read today.
That
yes.
part. Yes.
And especially for the kids, because I think the generation that's coming after the millennials, um they they're kind of getting crapped on with a lot of stuff that we got as kids, even in the Gen X and millennial, and even probably before that. There was a lot of things that we were able to be a part of that they're
Mm-hmm.
just not, it's not available for them anymore,
Mm.
unfortunately. So reading when I was growing up was very, very, very important. That is one thing that my mama and my grandma did not play about. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to read, and we will read. Start off with 15 minutes a day, because as a little kid, your focus is only right 15 minutes. You can sit
Right.
still, and then it grew, and mine's grew by myself because
Mm.
I loved reading. So it grew to where I could read for hours, to the point where my grandma
Mm-hmm.
was telling me, baby, it's time for you to rest your eyes, put that book down. Excuse me, put this book down. I want to keep reading. I'm at a good part now. I'm actually almost done with this book. But if we have our children, and some of y'all have grandkids, read for at least 30 minutes a day, they learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it does add value to their life, no matter what they're reading. It could be a magazine, it could be a book,
Totally.
it could be a graphic novel,
Hmm.
comic. Have them read something.
Yeah.
That is a
That's
battle
it.
right now in my house with my 9-year-old, but we have found something catered towards his interest. So he is currently interested in loving Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So
Yeah.
um, it's reading. I told him we read for 30 minutes. I set a timer, as we call it, reading sprints, and we
Yep.
do a reading sprint, and he
That's
loves it.
awesome.
Hmm. That is awesome.
That's awesome. I love that
Yeah.
for him.
And
For
working in
sure.
education, yes, reading is the best thing. If when parents, because we don't give
Absolutely.
homework, when they ask what can we do with our, make them read.
Read.
Read
Make them
whatever,
read.
read the word, put captions on TV and make it go slow. Give them sight word cards. Read something. Just
Yes.
have
Did you
them
guys
read,
even do
read,
the
read.
reminder for spring break that hey, make sure that your kids are reading 30 minutes a day during spring
Yes,
break? Yeah, that's awesome.
yes. My principal. That's like the main thing she always says. Nope, they don't need homework. Just have them read. Just have them read.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Every
that's
day.
going to be a challenge in itself because, you know, they're going to want to be outside, play on the
Yeah.
games, do all these other things besides
Before the
reading.
games, that's
So,
how you earn it. 30 minutes to read, then you get on the game. You get it
Yep.
done, but
exactly.
they'll get it done
Yeah.
quick.
They'll get it done.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they will not
And
procrastinate.
with the kids, I feel like this generation, um, they don't get the pizza things. Like I love to read anyways, but to read and I get, some certificates to Pizza Hut
Yeah.
or to bowling because my school would do bowling, so we would get bowling alley tickets so we can go bowl for free. We get to
Yeah.
bowl for free, and bowling don't cost that much. But
Yeah.
if you got a family, you thick with the family, 4, 5 kids, paying for all them can get expensive. So hey, you can actually read for 15, 30 minutes a day. And if you complete this amount of reading, we give you tickets or we give you a Pizza Hut coupon. I'm actually kind of sad that they don't do that
Have they
anymore.
just done away with that altogether?
I
They don't do it
don't know.
here.
Oh, that's a
They don't
bummer.
do it here. Yeah.
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 So it is important, you know. And I was talking to the librarian when I went to pick up my books the other day, and we was talking about because you had mentioned about this the newer generation, and one of the things that she found intriguing too, because I had brought up, you know, hey, drop everything and read, you know, day is coming up, and she was saying she's like, yeah, we get a lot of the kids, they'll come in. Especially during the week of that, and they be, you know, trying to impress on them how important it is to read. And again, the struggle here is that a lot of these kids just they don't get that outside of the school setting. When they go home, like it's just it, right? They're not thinking about it unless they're made to go to the library, unless they're in the library. So one of the things that I told her, which was she didn't think about it until after the fact, I was like, hey, you know what? Like, so I feel like a lot of these kids are on the spectrum, so they're more visual. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so one of the situations that probably need to change is that graphic novels need to be introduced a little bit more into the reading system, right?
We use them at our school. Well, we
A
have
lot
one
of
teacher
people,
that refuses, which is
but that's
nonsense
the
because I'm
thing. You
like,
have a lot of teachers, depending on where you are, that refuses because they
yeah,
don't think that it's reading, but it is. And I told her, I said, you literally have books that have been formed into graphic novels. They're still
yeah,
books. They
Babysitters
just
Club.
now, right?
A
That's
whole
the
series.
thing.
We have it.
And she's like, you know, I didn't really think about that, but you're right. She's like, I think for like a lot of our kids who have sensory issues or just like visual learners, I think that would help a lot. So I'm going to say this for anybody out there who has a kid that may be autistic, that's on the spectrum, or, you know, suffering through ADHD or can't focus or are visual
Yeah.
learners,
Or just struggling readers because those series are a
period.
little bit lower in
Mm-hmm.
the AR scale, so they can
Mm-hmm.
still read the books like friends are reading
Exactly.
with the same kind of
Exactly.
Hmm.
content, just in a different
Exactly.
format for them.
Exactly. So I was going to say, I would suggest to do that on Drop Everything and Read Day, just like get them a graphic novel. Because I promise you, and the way that they make them now, they're so freaking cool. And if they come to you and they read it and they said, can I check out another one or can you get me another one? You have won.
Yep.
You really
Yeah.
have.
I
Yep.
have
Yeah. So I
Animal
love
Farm
that.
and graphic novel, just in case you guys wonder. At the graphic
Wait,
novel of
you
Animal Farm.
do?
What?
Mm-hmm.
Erica, when did the what? When did that happen? Shut
I
the
bought it a
front
while ago.
door.
Yeah,
Wait.
I have to buy it in every format because you know this is my book.
Wait, well, why is that
Oh
book
shoot,
bigger than the
sorry.
regular though? Why is it bigger than the
Because
regular
it's a
book
full,
though?
full
Yeah,
purple
Parable of the
pictures.
Sower is kind of thick too.
Yeah,
The
because
Yeah,
it
well,
got all the
graphic
yeah,
pictures.
novel.
that and Parable of the Talent is getting ready to come out in May, so I'm gonna have both of those.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna
Graphic
get the other
novels.
graphic novel.
That's freaking awesome, though. I love that. Where'd you find that?
I don't even know, but it's probably on the Zon. If we're
Alrighty
being
then.
honest, I don't even know when I ordered it. I just really wanted to get it because I needed to see the barn with all the writing on it. of
on the
all of the rules.
side.
Yeah, that's what I needed to see
Oh,
in
that's
writing.
hilarious. That's hilarious. But yeah, we're gonna jump back into it because I think there was another part of this discussion that Tony that you wanted to have with regards to drop everything and read when it comes to BIPOC authors and making sure that they are at the forefront of literary events, whether it be release day or just being represented in book spaces. You want to touch on that
Yeah.
a little bit more?
So as y'all know, you know, Tracy Dion's Oathbound came out, dropped March 4th. Barnes and Nobles had an exclusive book, which they've done exclusives for the first two. This will be a 4-book series, so we're on book 3.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a part of the bookish space as far as TikTok goes and Instagram and all that, you saw the uproar when it came to how that release was handled. So mine, I did make a video because I went into one of the 3 Barnes and Nobles in my city and there was no table. It was a shared table with other books. There was only like 4 books of Oathbound on that table. So, you know, I looked around, there were no extras anywhere else, no end cap, no table of, the books on its own. And a lot of us, we said something about it. Now there are people that made videos calling out that their Barnes and Noble did not drop the ball, and I am very happy that that happened. But I am sad for me and others who went in, did not see that. We went in looking for it because the way that I did it, because I was with my daughter
Mm-hmm.
and I was on a time crunch. I was on a mission because toddlers will only let you do stuff for so long. So I had to get in, get out.
I hear
And
that.
I went to the Y8 because I looked down the main aisle to maybe I was like, oh, maybe it'll be on an end cap like right here because it's release date. This is a Barnes and Noble exclusive. It wasn't. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to YA because they do be having tables back there. So I was like, all right, let's go. So I go and I went to the section of where the other 2 books were at. I saw them. I'm like, okay, crap, where's book 3? It ain't even on shelf. I hope it's out. So I went looking for a few other books until I could find a worker. And then I saw 2 of them. They were talking, so, finished talking and discussing. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for Oathbound by Tracy Dion. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's right here. And I'm like, oh, I missed it. And it was on the table with other books. So I did not
Mm.
see it because it was overcrowded by other books. And then she went on to make the comment like, yeah, we're trying to figure out a table situation, like where we can put it at. So they were in the works of getting it set up and trying to
Mm-hmm.
find a table. But from
It wasn't
someone
set
that
up.
it was not set up. So from someone that came from the retail world, I'm not there anymore, but I worked retail that was like my first job. And I started working retail probably like 2022, 2023. And when it came to, because I worked in shoes at a big box retailer, and when those shoes released, like we knew the release date, we would have the shoes. Even if the shoes were delayed, we would still
Mm-hmm.
get them by that time. I think it was only one time that, and it was a pair of Yeezys that everybody's was delayed.
Lord, y'all
It was
could
a
have just
drop with
burned
something.
them.
Yeah.
Burn them, drop them in the ocean. Don't nobody care. But anyways.
And it was crazy, but like, the Jordan, releases and stuff, we took
Mm-hmm.
those very serious. Like
Mm-hmm.
any
Mm-hmm.
big release, like we were gonna have it set up. So I,
Mm-hmm.
put that over and carried that over to the book world because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is a Barnes and Noble exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
this ain't just a regular old book. Like this is a Barnes and Noble exclusive. Like inside the book is a dope
Well, it's always a yes.
picture. Like it's a dope book, and not all bookstores carry it. This is again a Barnes and Noble exclusive. She
Right.
has 2 other books, which now with this one dropping a total of 3. No table, no end cap. And a lot of us, we were saying in our videos, like, we would have been happy with an end cap of all her books, where you saw
Right.
this is book 1, book 2, book 3, because when I saw it on the table, I was like, well, what if you're not necessarily new to shopping, but you see that book, you're like, ooh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Whole time you picked that up, you started reading it, you didn't miss what the first two books had, because you just picked it up, not realizing that that's actually the third book because it wasn't with the other two. So you can know that it's part of a series, and now you can
Mm-hmm.
further do your research of which one's first, which one's second, which
Mm-hmm.
one's third.
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt like it was, missed opportunities when it came to Oathbound. And to me, it was a big one, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
fantasy. It's a different spin on fantasy that I haven't really saw
Mm-hmm.
be done. Because it has a King Arthurian feel to it, but some
Mm-hmm.
ancestral magic with it too. So
Mm-hmm.
as a, you know, lover of Tracy Dion, this being her third book, the ball was dropped by some of the BNN stores, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't dropped at all of them. So I'm happy when people were blogging their experience going
Mm-hmm.
into the BNNs, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I see a table. I see a table. And I do remember one that I forgot who posted it, but we are mutuals on TikTok. The books were still stacked on a dolly
Mm.
days
I
later.
saw that video. I
Yeah,
did. I saw
that
that video.
pissed me
And
off.
Yeah.
actually, I saw some videos where the books hadn't even made it out the boxes
Yeah.
and they were
So do you
they
think?
were out on the floor for stocking.
So, okay, so I was gonna say, so do you think like this one release is kind of a reflection of how Black authors, marginalized authors, kind of get pushed aside when we should be
I say so.
forefront, with the pick up a book and read day?
Yes, especially more so with new authors.
Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this was, I feel like, because again, Tracy Dion is a big deal, right? And
She's a
so
big deal.
she's a big deal. And the first two books, I feel like, went off without a hitch.
Hmm.
And again, it's just one of those situations. I just really think that they dropped the ball this time around, with the exception of the stores that she actually visited and the stores that
Hmm.
actually got her stuff ahead of time. I think there was some delays, but I think a lot of it also came down to the store manager and employees, right? How they were advised, what they were advised, and what they should have done and didn't do, right? Because if you follow the same formula every single time, especially with the traditional author, how do you miss so badly? You
Hmm.
Yeah.
don't. It just doesn't happen. And so I just feel like with this one, because now I'm getting to that question to kind of answer your question, but also to ask the question of how do we change this? Because I feel like this is a constant narrative in Black bookish space that we always find ourselves having to tackle and deal with every single time. When
Hmm.
do we stop relying on big boxes to actually get it right? And because we know they're never going to get it right. So what do we do, right? How do we how do we how do we get out of this conversation? What do we do?
I feel like we'll never get out of it, but Black owned bookstores, I don't think ever really drops the ball. I think with this one, because of it, I think the big thing highlight of it is because it was a Barnes and Noble's
The
exclusive.
edition.
Mm.
It was an exclusive edition. I think with this, Erica, while we were talking about this, all three of us,
Mm-hmm.
there are some areas who don't have Black-owned bookstores,
Right.
but there's an online site. I do actually have a few by me. I've only been to one so far. The other one opened, I think, during COVID, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be making my way there. And while I was in Milwaukee for work, I wanted to go to the two up there, but the weather was crappy up there the day that I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to go. We know bookstores, especially like independent bookstores, the hours
Mm-hmm.
are, I don't want to say limited, like it's bad. Like y'all ain't gonna stay open forever. And I don't expect none of y'all
Mm-hmm.
to. So about time I was done with my work event on one of those days, I could not make it there because they were closed. And I was sad.
Yeah.
And it was crappy, like I said, crappy weather and stuff while I was up there. And then the next day was me leaving, and I was like, oh, maybe I should just go ahead and stop by. But I was so tired and I wanted to get home to my babies.
Yeah.
And I was like, I I'm gonna make it a deal where anytime we go anywhere else. So, if we go to Texas this summer, there are some black owned
They've
bookstores,
got
down
tons of
there. Yeah.
black owned bookshops there. Like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
So,
Yeah. And LA also too, Erica, for you. If you go into the LA area, they have quite a few there as well.
Yeah.
And then when we're in Vegas in October, we're actually going to visit. They have two now, my understanding now. We can visit both, but I know for sure we're visiting
going
Dope
to one.
Analog for sure.
Yep.
Exactly. I think so. The biggest example that I can give that I think has gotten it right every single time that I've seen a new book that has come out thus far is Baldwin and Company. When I tell
Mm,
you how they roll out the red carpet for these events for Black authors, they set the example of what needs to be done every single time. But Baldwin and Company also started off like a little book company too, as well, a bookshop as well, right? It took them some time to get there, but they always kept in their mind that any author that is Black or BIPOC, they deserve the same accolades, the same fanfare that a
hmm
white author is going to get before, on, and after release date. Think about it. If you guys ever visited their page, how they do things, they make sure that you know what's coming.
hmm
They gonna blast the hell out of their social medias. You gonna know. Then on release day, they're gonna do this thing with 9 times out of 10. You gonna have where these books are gonna be there on the shelf, ready to go, front and freaking center.
hmm
And then they're going to invite that author to come and sit and with the community and do Q&A and sign books and get showered with all the love and praises they deserve. They set the example as far as I'm concerned of how things should be done, not only with the Black bookshops and bookstores, but within the Black literary space. And we need more of that. I hear people always toting about, well, the Black community has a $1.6 trillion spending power, but y'all give that money to the wrong people. And because we know we can flex that all day long, but it doesn't matter if we're not spending it in the right places. And I think the reason why this thing with Tracy Dion bothered me so much, because it didn't have to happen that way. And it will continue to happen that way, which is why I'm kind of like exhausted on the conversation, because we are kind of a catalyst in it. We can change this
We can change
because
it.
we have the spending power, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because we can patronize our bookshops and bookstores, because we can patronize our indie authors, even our traditional authors, in ways outside of the systems that they have set up. We need to be doing more of that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And I think
Maybe
that's just kind of where I'm at.
we're gonna have to do a bookstore combo,
We
because I don't
probably
think
should.
everybody knows about
That's
those.
the thing. I think, but again, that's why I was saying I find that this episode was going to be more informative, and I think we continue to have this conversation and make sure that people are well aware. And again, this is why we are putting together the list of the Discord. I think that's a great opportunity for us to actually have a show and maybe see if we can get some of those people from these bookshops to actually sit with us and tell us their journey. Tell us what vision they had for opening up a bookshop, right? And
Mm.
where are you trying to go in the future? What relationships are you trying to build with these authors? What is the relationship there? I would love to have something like that. I think that would be so dope. I don't know about
We'll
y'all,
just
but I
do it
think
in
that would be so
October
dope.
when we in Vegas.
Yeah, that'd be perfect time, won't it though?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here. Come
without a doubt.
come pop a squat next to us, right there.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
talk to us.
But I do think, I think back to what Sibo said in our conversation, like we need to start thinking when he said monolithically about certain things, and this is one of them. Monolithically, because again, when we're talking about the white counterparts for the white authors, they're going to show up every single time.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things where we just have to be there every single time, and this is one of them for the book community, because you only have so many authors who make that traditional press, right? We only have so many indie authors who can sell themselves for so much, and we show up for them, but we need to be showing up every single
Every
time.
single time. Yep. Yep.
I mean, I feel like we do a good job of that. We have supported damn near everybody that done ran through them Black Book Talk. We support, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do. But I think that needs to be times 10, times 100. There needs to be everybody in the Black Book Talk community, and I'm about to toot our own horn. If y'all don't, needs to be Erica, Tony, and Keisha. Period. Support 100%. Now, if you're trash, we're going to tell you you're trash, but we still going to support you in some capacity. But you know what I'm saying? Just going to put that out there.
If you can get some workings. But yeah,
Yeah.
we love our traditional BIPOC authors, but we also love our indie
We do.
BIPOC authors too. And we've definitely created some bonds with tons of indie authors, and we even on the radar of some traditionally published authors, which is pretty dope, I think, for us as readers, because we treat authors, whether they're indie or traditional, like celebrities. Like,
Totally.
if you ever just get to talk to, and I'll, throw this out here, like, you get to talk to Beyonce for 10 minutes. That's how authors are to us, because
Yeah.
you're okay with giving me some of your time. You're busy, especially like traditionally published authors, when they take that time out to speak with book clubs or a podcast or doing interviews with bookstores and all that. That's really dope. And
Yeah.
because we've been able to speak with a few traditionally published
Right?
authors, it's
I
like
think
very
that's
surreal.
wonderful. That's awesome. I love
It's been
it.
amazing. Yes. And then even for our indie authors, just having those convos on TikTok and IG and stuff has been amazing. And we've formulated so many relationships with indie authors and our traditionally published authors. And we kind of keep them on the loop of, hey, this is how we took in your book. Either we liked it, we loved it, it was meh, or we hated it, but we come with respect with criticism.
Right.
We're never disrespectful to our indie or traditionally published authors. That could be a private side conversation, because this is your work, this is your art. So
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't want to piss on somebody else's artistry. Like,
no.
who are we to do that? Because that's a process, right? And we even trying to put yourself in their shoes, you don't know the whole entire process and the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that. Like, even if it's not good, there is a way that you go about to say that it's not good, right? And if it's great, it's just, I don't know. Common sense ain't common these days. That's all I got for you. It ain't common these days. Anything else you want to add to that, Erica?
Oh, I was just gonna say, so drop everything and read a Black or BIPOC author on April 12th, y'all. That's
April
what I
12th.
got for you. April 12th. Pick up a book.
Boom.
And if you want
That's
to
it.
take a pic, do a little video clip, and y'all want to tag us, please do.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
as we're scrolling and we see it, we'll drop a comment. But a lot of us, we already drop everything and read anyways. But
yeah, show for that day anyways. I mean, I'm sure we'll come up with a campaign for the National Library Week, and then drop everything and read day. I mean, that's what we always do. I think it's important to highlight these things because it is a reminder, not for the people who are already in the bookish space, but for people who are either new to it and are just getting into reading, or people who rarely ever read, or they haven't read at all but they want to, right? So we do this for everybody, but more so we do it for the people not really exclusive to the bookish space, because again, this is what we do 24/7. You feel me?
hey, and also April 12th is on a Saturday.
Sure
So
is.
we literally do get to drop everything and read, because we ain't got, well, most of us, if you don't have to work weekends, you ain't got to work. I'm a
And
Monday
I'm
through
just gonna
Friday
go ahead and
worker.
So
yes, and I'm gonna go ahead and plug it, because on Drop Everything and Read Day, which is a Saturday, y'all can always feel free to join us in the Discord. We do have
And
a
I probably will
Discord.
be on Discord, yeah,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
be reading The Getaway if I'm not done with it.
yeah, from
I'll
the
Right. I'm
probably
about
be
to
done.
say, girl, we'll be done with that. What are you talking about? The
Yeah,
way
I'll
we've been
probably
running
be
through these
done.
books lately.
I'll probably be done with that.
Without a doubt.
But
Without a
yeah,
doubt.
if y'all want to tag us in y'all photos, y'all videos, April 12th, a lot of us will be able to read in peace,
Yes.
which is nice. But also, I was looking to see what the date was, because I was like, if it was during the week, I was going to take off a PTO day. so I can drop everything and read. Because I
That she
want to
said,
go
I'm
to work.
dropping the job for the day. I'm staying home and
I'm
reading.
dropping the
Yeah, I
job for
checked
that's
it
what
too,
that
though, because I was like, ooh, drop everything. Let me see what day of the week. Okay, Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't even get into because I think that's the week that's a Saturday, right? So that following
It's a
week is the
Saturday.
week that Joey McIntyre from New Kids on the Block comes into town. Let me just go ahead and plug that out right there. He's gonna be in Birmingham. That's my boo thing, been my boo thing since day one, and I'm gonna be there a lot. And I get to meet him too.
Not the
Ma'am,
Joey
you are
McIntyre
married.
plug.
Yes, the Joey McIntyre. I'm so
You're
excited about
married.
that. Yes, and I'm gonna stay married. As a matter of fact, I got a book for Joey. So boom, there it
Is it
is.
tender as the flesh?
She's like, read
No,
this.
it's actually the Augustina Bixteria, the 19 claws and a
You are
blackbird.
not about to give him 19 claws and
I
blackbird.
am. He mentioned it in his story, so I'm like, boom, I got the perfect book for you.
I'm coming. He'll be like, what?
And you shall receive. Okay, I'm
Oh my
just
God.
saying. Yes.
You know what?
See,
You're gonna have
listen,
to
I
take a
told you,
picture. Take a picture.
ma'am, and
With
I will.
the book?
Well, I don't know how we doing this, but I'll make sure that happens on camera. I definitely. Here you go, Joey. There you go. Good luck. Let me know if you were able to figure out what the hell was going on in them stories, because that book was wild as hell. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that. But I do want to take this time to shout out Emmeline, who is a mutual of mine on TikTok. She's in the big scheme of things, the book talk community. She is a Filipino book talker who utilizes her platform to highlight the importance of going to the library, right? Utilizing your library. And thing that she says, and it's her tagline, you're not a hot girl unless you go to the library. I absolutely fucking love that because I feel like not only do hot girls read, but they also go and utilize their local library. So shout out to Emlyn for making sure and being consistent with that message. She is definitely an advocate for the library system. Do you guys have anybody that you want to thank before we close out the show?
I would like to thank my bank account.
This ain't about
My
the life.
bank account is tired, okay?
For holding you up and
That
supporting you
button
this long. For getting you
is been
through.
yeah, it's tired. And I'm gonna have to put it to rest for a little bit
Yeah.
for the next few months, which is okay.
Well, I mean, say we can put it to rest until October. Ain't nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that because that's where we're
Oh,
gonna
we
get
have
lit
to.
anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting real. We almost in April, and I'm like, Lord Jesus, October about to be here. It's time to start putting away the funds. So I will
Yes.
not be buying no more books, y'all. Y'all can gift me.
Yes.
I got a
Not
I
no
wish
mean,
more
if you
list,
books.
just
y'all.
choose to guess, if you want to do that, but my thing of it is, that's the whole point of this episode is to try to get people to understand that there is, yes, we all love books. And trust me when I say I am guilty of it. Tony is, so is Erica. We love to buy books, right? There's that hit of dopamine that comes with buying that new book. One that, and I know Erica has said it before, she suffers from FOMO, like, because everybody's talking about it. And especially if it's a black book and it's an author that she's familiar with,
Mhm.
oh, she wants to have that book, right? But at the same time, I think there comes a point in time, because we're adults, we gotta put in some self-control here, because at the same time, those books aren't going anywhere. They're not. They're gonna still be on that shelf tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Just more
But
is
then there's
gonna
gonna
come
be
out.
5. I said there's gonna be 5 other ones I need too. Then by then, if I
But
don't get
yeah,
it.
but my whole
But
thing about it, here's the beauty of that though. So if it's 5 in a series and they all 5 out, guess what you get to do? Now you get to spend time reading that series because all 5 books are out.
well, you must be
So
talking to Tony. You ain't talking.
Which that never
You ain't talking
happened.
to me. You ain't talking to me
That's
in a
a dream.
5 book series. You talking. You talking to
That
Tony.
is
damn,
a
you read a
dream.
whole Nina High series. I'm gonna need you to.
It was 3 books and then 2 books, so they were separate, 2 separate series. But and she got her
But
3rd book coming out next month. But no,
yeah,
I wanted to shout out Ash. Not about
yeah.
libraries, but because she is literally on buying all of our books for our book club. Like she is prepared. She keeps on showing, and I'm like, I ain't even got October's book yet. You making okay? Let me go. Let me go
I know.
get
I
it.
love
She's on
Ash.
it.
Ash was like, "Let me do this." She was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm caught up. I got everything I
She
need
says
right
she in
now."
it for the year. She subscribed for the year. We in
Yes,
this.
I love that. I love that. I
I'm
just
almost
love
done.
I love our members.
Mhm.
Especially with the new wave of members that have come on.
Yeah, shout out to
I
the
felt
members.
yes, I do feel like we have found, first of all, first and foremost, outside of that, shout out to Fable, because Fable really did put us on in a major way, right? And we we found more of our tribe because of Fable. They did spotlight us during Black History Month when we were reading The Queen's Spade, and the people that have joined have been amazing, just amazing. Like, I don't even know where these people came from. I don't know how long they've been a part of book. I don't even care. I just love the personalities that showed
Because
up.
in the word, we all fam. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and in the club, in our club, we all fam.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Conversations have been dope and meaningful, but we also
Yes.
have fun. Like we talk books, but we talk about other stuff. We
And we
check
be
in.
talking shit, and
How
that's
y'all
it.
doing?
That listen,
Good morning. Good afternoon.
and we be
How's
talking
y'all
shit. That's
workday?
because reading is lit. Listen, I think it was Diana who was just like, "Man, y'all really be up over here in these comments, girl. Listen, the shenanigans is real.
Listen,
Okay,
that yeah.
we are, but I absolutely love it. So shout out to our book club members, and also shout out to our fourth member. She's our silent partner, Miss Charlene. We love her.
Miss
Listen,
Charlene.
Charlene be down for it. You hear me? That's our girl.
Yes.
And she is every bit a part of Three Sisters and One Book Club than all the other members, right? And I just appreciate her so much. And she reminds me a lot of you, Erica. She's very quiet, very introverted, but when she speaks, it's powerful. And so I really do appreciate her so much. So, and thank y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because we still riding out. We doing this thing. We still in it tough. And I appreciate y'all so much. I'm saying
Because
this
we
thing
deal with
can't
the
run without the three
shenanigans
of
and the
us.
shit.
Listen, there ain't no one chief and two assistants. There's three motherfucking chiefs in here. You hear me? That's why it's Three Sisters and One Book Club. You feel me? That's what we do. But anyways, y'all, I do love the fact that we were able to discuss, our library systems and, tap into the upcoming campaign for Drop Everything and Read. And a lot of information was shared today. And I'm sure this won't be the first or the last when we have these informal type discussions. But if you guys have any questions for us, please leave a comment, because there is a comment box on the podcast pages, whether it be on Spotify or in Apple. And also too, on Apple, you can give us a rating and review us. We would love to hear your feedback on all of that.
Yes.
But if you have any questions for us, you can do that on those platforms. Or if you haven't already, join our damn book club on Fable. Please come on over. I promise you're gonna have a good time. We fam over there, and y'all could ask questions in there. And then also too, you can make your way to our Discord, because that's where the real shit happens.
Yep. Our socials.
Yes.
We have the book club social, but we also have our own personal
Yes.
account. So hit us up
Yes.
if y'all got questions.
Yes.
Y'all want to give feedback. We are always open to comments and feedback.
Yes. And this actually will be the video part of this for the behind the scenes will be available on our YouTube channel when all is said and done. It will release a week after our next episode airs on the podcast platforms. So be looking out for that too. And if you're not following us on YouTube, you would want to do that as well. But I don't have anything else unless y'all do.
No,
Nope.
just thank y'all for listening. We've been getting some great feedback from different people, different listeners, and everything. So thank y'all for giving our podcast a listen, because we went on a whim on this
Yeah, we
because
did.
we love to talk books. So we was like, what, let's do a podcast. So I'm happy for the episodes that we have done so far and the ones that will be coming in the future.
Yes, yes. Well, yeah, well, thank y'all. That's all I got.
Me too.
All right
Okay,
now.
bye.
Okay, bye.
Peace and blessings.